What's happening, betters? Welcome into this week's episode of Dolan's Deep Dive, a weekly weekend show where I'm going to try and endeavour to highlight some of the best betting spots and some of the more overlooked sports in the market: boxing, rugby, lower league soccer, and so on. Stick around as we feature some of the best bets to be had on the card this weekend. Moving forward, I'm going to be looking at plays primarily on Sunday as well. We gave out a lot of action for Saturday on last week's show, as well as some plays for Sunday as well. But, by the time this video is uploaded, by the time people actually get around to watching it, a lot of those games for Saturday have already kicked off. So we're going to, be looking at Sunday games from now on primarily, bar obviously the big boxing events that take place on Saturday night. Now, turn over our attention to this weekend's boxing card. We did have a ton of action on last night in Times Square. Big card. Didn't really live up to the billing, in all honesty. A lot of duds in that card, to be fair. My main play on that card was on Arnold Barboza to win on points at plus 320 over Teofimo Lopez. I just really liked that price. I thought plus 320 was way too oversized. But, in fairness, Teo delivered in that one. Switching over to Saturday night, and of course, full focus turns over to the main man himself, Canelo Alvarez, who is going for a second straight run at undisputed in the super middleweight division. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this one. I've already got a 4% play up on that fight. It's been up for weeks over at Wagertalk, so ample opportunity to join me for that one if you're interested. But in terms of the undercard for that fight, it's interesting. Some pretty good matchups on the card. I could see stoppages in both the Martin Bakole and Efe Ajagba fights. I could see a stoppage in that one. Jaime Munguia, Bruno Sarace fight as well. Could see another stoppage there. Jaime Munguia is going to be fired up for revenge in that one. He got embarrassed last time out by Sarace. And kind of like we saw in the Ben Whittaker fight recently against Liam Cameron a couple of weeks ago, it's going to be very hard for Lightning to strike twice, in that one. You would imagine Munguia is going to come out with the best effort. While in the other contest, we know how hard both Efe Ajagba and Martin Bakole crack, up at heavyweight. Bakole looking to get back in the mix after getting bombed out against Joe Parker last time out, but he needs to be careful here. Efe Ajagba, not the greatest technical boxer on the planet, but he does hit a lot harder than Joe Parker does. So sometimes, when you get two heavy-handed fighters in there, it can, sometimes fizzle out a little bit. But one thing I do like about Martin Bakole is, he takes chances in the ring, in order to get that stoppage. I don't see him coasting here. If he is on top against the Ajagba, he'll likely look to close the show. The only fight on the undercard, actually, that I do have some action on is the Badou Jack versus Nourier Mikaelian fight. I know Badou Jack is a favourite over in Saudi Arabia. He does get a lot of love over there, but, at 41 years of age, he hasn't fought in well over 2 years at this point as well, and Mikaelian is the naturally bigger man. Great technical boxer as well. Arguably beat Maris Briedis in their WBSS quarterfinal a number of years ago. He is a quality operator in the ring. And I believe, he's minus 154 at FanDuel right now. And that's a play for me. I expect Mikaelian to outbox Jack, use that, great jab of his, and hopefully he doesn't get screwed on the cards over in Saudi Arabia once again. Switching over to rugby for this weekend, and huge weekend in terms of competition over in Europe. We're at the semi-final stage in both the European Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup as well. I have a 4% best bet up in this weekend's Challenge Cup clash. That'll likely be all done and dusted by the time most of you are watching this early 10 a.m. Eastern kickoff on Saturday morning. But turn over to Sunday's Champions Cup semi-final between Toulouse and Bordeaux. I'm expecting this one to be razor close, as do the books. So being able to pick up Bordeaux here at plus 108 currently, again on FanDuel, I quite like that, plus 108. Bordeaux won both of their meetings against Toulouse over in the top 14 this season. We go back to the quarterfinals as well. And that game against Toulon for Toulouse, absolutely razor close finish. Last minute kick to win the game. While I thought Bordeaux looked extremely impressive against their two Irish opponents across the last two rounds, Bordeaux finishing top of the pool as well. So it is going to be a razor close game. Either side could obviously win it. I am a huge fan of Toulouse as well, but getting plus money on Bordeaux right now, I have to put some change on that for Sunday in the Champions Cup. Before we get into this Sunday's soccer selections, I just want to highlight what's going on right now over at Wagertalk. I've got a 5% play locked and loaded for this Monday's conference semi-final clash between New York and Boston in the NBA. Really like this play, obviously, and we're on a 75% run in NBA across the last 2 weeks as well. So it is a great time to jump on board and join me for that one. Return our attention over to soccer for this Sunday. Plenty to like across Europe from a value perspective. Over in the Bundesliga on Sunday, the over 2.5 goals in the Holstein, Kiel and Augsburg matchup looks like good value at minus 120. Currently defensively, Holstein Kiel are giving up the second most number of shots in the league this season. They've allowed by far the highest number of goals from open play as well, while Augsburg's defensive numbers, are a little overinflated this season, especially at home. Their expected data has them allowing over twice the number of goals than they've actually have at home since February 1st. That's a massive gulf. They've allowed just half the number of goals that they should have, I should say. So I think, there could be some goals in this one on Sunday, and I do like the over 2.5 in that game as a result. Holstein Kiel at Augsburg. Another game that caught my eye for Sunday was St. Truiden over in Belgium to beat Beerschot down at the bottom of the table in the relegation group. Beerschot rock bottom of the relegation group right now. They came off a shock win over Kortrijk last week, but that was a bizarre game. Beerschot hit the woodwork twice. Kortrijk had over twice the number of shots than them at the other end. And, take out that result for Beerschot, and they've lost 5 straight games on the bounce prior to that, 2 of which came against this same St. Truiden side also. So at minus 1 right now, which is going off around the minus 145 mark. I wouldn't be surprised if St. Truiden win this one by margin on Sunday. They did beat them 2-0 the last time they faced them at this venue, and St. Truiden have won all 6 of the last 6 head-to-heads as well. So St. Truiden minus 1, minus 145 right now. I do like that for Sunday's card also. Let me know what you guys think down below, and more importantly, what you're betting on in the comments. Also, as always, if you enjoyed the content, please hit that like button. It's always very much appreciated. And until next time, Slán Bhfuil, best of luck on all your bets.